Joel, you have a premiere coming up of another opera of yours called The Man on the Moon?
It's not a premiere. It's a museum. The premiere was 59 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be on the 15th?
15th of April.
And Jerry, your plans for your Russian production are on hold at the moment.
Totally on hold because of the political situation. We can't get sponsorship. The banks are all leery of doing anything. I had a production of my setting of Crime and Punishment, all set to go. It was completely cast. It was going to be done at the Pokrovsky.
I think you made some excerpts done.
That's right.
Anastasia sang some.
Anastasia sang some of those at a concert that we had, along with the graveyard scene from the DYBUK in the theater in the house of the Grand Duke Michael, if you can imagine such a thing today. He must have been rotating around in his
Are there
grave.
recordings?
Yeah, I have those concerts.
I noticed that graveyard scene. That's not in the Ansky. That's your
right.
own.
That's my own.
Beautiful edition.
I felt
I was reading it earlier today. It made very good sense to me.
I felt that we needed a big tenor soprano section in the middle of the opera. And the graveyard scene, which takes place off stage, and you only hear about what happened very briefly, I thought it was an ideal place to expand. And there was a big duet that lasted about 15 minutes at
You were
least.
planning to do something like that, kind of available, right?
And it ends up with the Hanon and Leah dancing together, trying to reach each other and not being able to. And just as they're about to touch fingertips, there's a blast of klezmer music from off stage, and it segues into the wedding scene.
The blast of music off stage also. Well, it's in the Ansky already.
That's it.
We all followed that and had the wedding music be very threatening to Leah.
An interesting footnote to what you were saying before. One of the other things that's on hold there is a production of the DYBUK at the Vakhtangov Theater in Moscow. A director at the Pokrovsky, Grigory Spector, who's a Georgian Jew, who's one of the leading directors there right now, liked the piece, and he knows the people of the Vakhtangov, and which is an ideal place to do it because Vakhtangov was the original director of the Moscow production.
Right.
The first time it was actually put together for the Habima. And we have that on record. It's a wonderful, wonderful recording of the Habima production, just with the Engel music.
Now, this original Russian version that was discovered recently, are you going to be trying to use that?
We're going to try to put the text, the libretto of the opera back into as close as we can to the original Russian text, and then just translate the rest of it.
Now, both of you used as an ending and a beginning, same thing that David Tamkin used, which is the words of an old Hasidic song.
Yes.
Why from the highest height to the deepest depth below has the soul of man so quickly fallen? The fall within itself contains the resurrection.
That's in the Ansky play, of course.
I mean, now what Jewish play talks about resurrection? I mean, isn't that between two worlds, right?
I suppose.
Leonard, do you have the tape there? You should play that. It's
I don't have the
extraordinary.
tape.
You don't? Yeah, that's the best part.
Well, I have the score. I can play a little bit of it, sure.
We can play the wall.
You have to remember one thing, that both Ansky was very non-secular, and may have done some things that you don't feel are exactly right for Jewish law, but he was, along with Peretz. As a matter of fact, Peretz was my cousin, my grandfather's cousin. They were buried together in the same tomb in Warsaw, Ansky and Peretz. And that both of them were secular Jews who made a study of folklore. So there's a crisscross some places in both of their writings.
I'm going to play. I'm going to just play the last page of each of the two operas, and you can imagine what is being sung is that text that we just said. Why from the highest height to deepest depth has the soul fallen within itself? The fall contains the resurrection. I'll do the Mandelbaum first, and then I'll.